so we're going back to the one-step equations, and this is the number 2 worksheet. Make sure you're using the number 2 worksheet. Okay, so we have the PERT reference sheet. Remember our 3 rules. This would be the number 1 rule for dividing when you have a letter connected to a number. This is the number 2 rule, which is when the number is not connected to the letter. And the number 3 rule, when you have a letter and a number on the same side. Okay, so what we want to do is go to our worksheet, and we're going to number which rule we're going to use on each. So we're going to use rule 2 on this one, rule 3 on this one, rule 2 on this one, 2 on this one, 3 on this one, 2 on this one, 1 on this one, 1 on this one, 1 on this one, and 1 on that. Okay, so now that we have that, if you need to refer to the reference sheet, please get one from the back of the room. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we get the letter on one side by itself. So what we have to do is go with the opposite number, so opposite sign, so we'd go +6 on both sides. So +6, those two cancel out to make 0, and that goes 9 + 6 would be 15. So 15 equals y. Okay, so 15 equals y. The next one, remember, we're going to go to the number 3 rule. If the letter is part of a fraction, multiply the denominator to the opposite side. So we're going to do 5 times -12, which is -60, equals x. That's what we do. Okay. Then the third one, again, we're getting the letter on one side by itself. We have to get rid of this number. So we're going to, if a number is not connected to a letter, add or subtract with the opposite sign to both sides. So we're going to do that. -2 on both sides. We can cancel that out and make that -9 equals k. Okay. Number 4, we're going to do the same thing. Our job is to get the letter on one side by itself. So what are we going to do? If a number is not connected to the letter, add or subtract with the opposite sign to both sides. So we're going to go -3, -3. So n equals 3. Okay. Now we got, if the letter is part of a fraction, we're going to multiply the denominator to the opposite side. So 5 times 7 is 35 equals s. Remember, on the ACT, you can use your calculator. Use your calculator if you don't have the math facts memorized. Better safe than sorry. Use your calculator. Make sure you have your calculations right. Okay. Now up to number 6, we're going back to rule number 2. If a number is not connected to a letter, add or subtract with the opposite sign to both sides. So we're going to, we got to get the letter on one side by itself. So don't try to bring the 5 over. We're bringing the 7 over. So -7 on both sides. So -12 equals a. Okay. Okay, now we got the number 1 rule. If a number is connected to a letter, which it is, to R, divide by that number and keep the sign the same. So we got 2, so we're going to go divide by 2. So it's going to be -11 equals R. Okay. Here we go again. We got to connect it to the letter. So we got to go -7 because it's -7v. And we're going to go -7 to both sides. And we get v equals -4. Remember, if you have a positive and a negative, those rules are down here. We're multiplying. We're going to have a positive and a negative equals a negative. That's why it's a -4. So remember, here's the adding and subtracting. When we're adding and subtracting signs, these are the rules. And if we're multiplying or dividing signs, these are the rules. So you can refer to that as well. Okay, so we're going back up. We're going to use rule number 1 again. If a number is connected to the letter, divide by that number and keep the sign the same. So it's going to be 4 divided by 4. Again, if you don't know what 48 divided by 4 is, you can use your calculator. That would be 12. Okay, c equals 12. And then we've got, and remember, if it's connected, we leave the sign the same. So it'd be a -6 divided by -6, and that would be 13. So it'd be h equals -13 because we got a positive and a negative, and we're dividing positive and a negative, so the answer will turn into a negative. And that is it for the one-step equations number 2 worksheet.